Hello everyone. So today is Wednesday, the 25th of March, and it's the day that the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction shortlist was announced. I had bought two books that I found secondhand just in case that they made it. So I had Ask Me How It Works by Deepa Paul. So I bought it online secondhand, and the cover in the website is the normal cover. This is an arc. It says several places do not sell, but someone sold it. It happens, whatever. Yeah, this one I bought. I was quite excited when the list was announced for this one, but I have heard not great things about it, so I'm not sure anymore. And the other one that I bought in preparation for the shortlist was Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy. I did make the mistake of looking in the library and assuming that they had it because it said they had a book called Mother Mary Comes to Me, but it's the Dutch version. They just didn't translate the title. So yeah, I took off my hold for that, and now I have a copy that I found secondhand. So it was quite cheap. It's not too bad. The list has been announced. I have checked it already. I'm filming this several hours after the announcement, and I have to say I'm a bit disappointed by the choices. I think the judges and I don't have the same taste. They seem very pretentiously arty. That is the vibe that the shortlist gives. So there are three books that I have read that have made the shortlist. The Finest Hotel in Kabul, which I thought was fine, but I didn't think it was going to make it. I think it was too dry at parts, too not deep enough in other parts, so I was not expecting it in the shortlist, to be honest. The other one that I have read is the Art Cure by Daisy Fancourt, and that one I enjoyed. I think it makes a good point. I don't know if it's amazingly groundbreaking, but yeah, I thought it was interesting. Some of the things that the book claim, I think it was a little bit over exaggerated, but that often happens with this kind of books. So that one I was expecting in the shortlist, and I'm fine with it being in the shortlist. And then the other one that is in the shortlist that I've read is Nation of Stranger by Temelkuran, something like that. And that one, I understand why it's there. I think it has very relevant topics, and I think it's very artsy, and the form is something different than what you normally see. So I understand why that is appealing for a prize like this. But I did have issues with the book. I thought that it came from a fairly privileged point of view. It also didn't necessarily build a lot of answers. It talked a lot about the feeling of not having a place you can call home because you don't have the place where you grew up and thought you belonged to is not available to you anymore. But that's kind of where it stopped, and I was hoping for a little bit more development in other regions. So yeah, I understand why it's there, but it wasn't my favorite. And then the three that I haven't read, so I was right that Roy was gonna make it. So that's nice. I'm excited to read this one. The other two, however, I'm not excited about. And when I saw the list, I debated if I wanted to read the shortlist this year. Have done it the other 2 years that the prize has existed, but I was considering not doing it because the other two books are Hotel Exile, which is about a hotel in Paris, around the Second World War or something like that, around one of the world wars. And world wars don't interest me. Artists don't interest me, which I think it's what the people in the hotel are mostly artists but stuff. And I think Paris is overrated. So that was not one that I was particularly interested in. And then the other one that I was shocked that it made it is Artist Siblings Visionaries, which are about these two artists that I don't even remember the name. I've never heard about them, and it was a completely niche book, in my opinion, that if you're interested in those painters, cool, but if you're not, I don't know if this has the appeal. For sure it didn't appeal to me, and I think that other people I saw reacting to the long list also were not planning on reading this book. So this list feels very artsy and very pretentiously artsy in particular to me, and I'm not in the vibes. So yeah, I will read this one, but I have been doing some research, and for the other two I didn't want to buy them because I don't think I'm gonna like them, but I did find that there are audiobooks that I can have access to. So I have a trial of BookBeat, and I have like 9 hours left on that, and the Artsy Siblings one is in that, so I can read like half of the book on that and then the other half on Spotify, which also has it, and I have just signed up for another trial. I never have these subscription things because I don't normally do audiobooks, but my library didn't have it, so it was the only way that I could access it without paying. So I have a trial of the BookBeat, and I will read half of one of the books there, and then the other half I will read in or listen to it Spotify, and then Exile is also on Spotify, so I can also listen to it there. The only problem is that I think I'm going to run out of hours before I finish both books, so then I will have to wait for like a month. So this vlog is going to last a bit longer than I was hoping for, but it is what it is. It's what I have to do so that I don't have to pay for these books I don't really want to read. In the Hair Kids prompts realm of things, I was right. I have read 3 from the long list, 3 from the short list, so I have read 6 books that count for those prompts, and now I just have to read the other 3 so that I know for sure I have read the winner. And with the short list how it is, I mean, I could change my opinion, but I think this one is probably going to be the winner. This one or Arcure, because the other one, Nation of Strangers, maybe, yeah, could be that Nation of Strangers makes it. I don't think the other 2 that I haven't read, I mean, I haven't read them, so I don't know, but I don't think they're gonna make it, so maybe this one. We will see. Those are my thoughts so far on the shortlist. Not like the long list was already a little bit meh, and I think they have made it worse with the shortlist. I'm so disappointed that To Exist As I Am didn't make it, because that book is great and it's my favorite so far, and I think it will remain my favorite. So yeah, I'll update you when I start reading the books that I have chosen. So I think I'm going to start simultaneously reading Mother Mary Comes to Me and listening to the audiobook of Artist Siblings Visionaries. Not like at the same time, but like I will be in the middle of both books at the same time. I think that's the plan. So yeah, I'll update you when I have read something.
Never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out,
So it's the next day, it's Thursday afternoon. I have to pick up Alex in half an hour, and I had quite a productive day. I think I applied for unemployment benefits for April because even though I found a job, I have a month in between that I don't get paid, and I thought maybe they will give me unemployment benefits. So I applied for those. It was a bit convoluted. I hope I did it right. And then I had to also make a couple of calls to change some appointments, which is fine, but I hate calling people, so I have been putting it off. So I feel quite proud of myself, even if it didn't take that long. I have done a lot of things that I have been putting off. And then after that, I mostly have been reading. I did start Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy on page 62. And I'm liking this. I think she's a fantastic writer, and the story is interesting. Her mother seems like a very interesting character, and she seems to have very mixed feelings about her. So the part that I have read so far, we mostly follow her when she's younger, and she talks about how her brother and her lived in the school that her mom set up, and how she was very adamant that the boys in the school have to break with like the stereotype of men should be broody and blah blah. So she was able to raise very gentle, caring men which is a novelty for the area, and she admires that a lot. But at the same time, she also saw how her and especially her brother were treated by their mom, and how unloving is not exactly the right word, but how harsh she was with them, especially the brother, as I said, because also she had a lot of the mom had a lot of rage against men, and that got transferred to her brother, and how that was obviously not great. And yeah, I think so far it's been interesting. She also talks about the politics in Kerala. So Kerala has a very prominent communist party and quite a model history with that. And we also talk about that, and there are a lot of interesting little bits so far, and I'm only 62 pages, so I still have a lot to go, but I am liking this. I also started listening to the artist siblings Visionaries while I was doing some coloring, and I think that writing on that one is very good as well. I think it's told in a very conversational narrative style that I enjoy, and I think the audiobook is helping with that as well. But I'm 20% of the way through that book, and I'm not sure so far if the story of these two siblings is interesting enough to interest anyone that is not interested in their art as well. Obviously I think that people that love their art and know their art well will love this book, but my problem when I saw it on the shortlist, and the problem I do still have, is that I don't know if this has wide enough appeal. I think it's a very good book, I just don't think it's very appealing for a lot of people. I think I'm finding, we follow two siblings, Augustus and Gwen John, which were Welsh painters, I think. And I think Gwen's story is more interesting because she was a woman in a place where women were not often welcome, and she struggled a lot more than her brother, even though their talents could be comparable, because she was a woman. And I think that juxtaposition is interesting to explore, but so far we're mostly focusing on Augustus more than in Gwen, and I'm not that interested in him to be completely honest about it. I have also googled some of their art, and it looks nice. It looks very Monet-like, and I like Monet, so that's fine. But again, like, I don't know, I think you have to have a lot more knowledge on the context to get anything valuable from the story so far. And the other thing that I'm wondering about is I'm 20% of the way through and I'm already on their 20s. And I don't know if this is gonna follow them until they die, because I don't know what else is gonna happen that will, you know, it's a long book. It's the audiobook is 17 hours. So I don't know what else is gonna happen that will be interesting enough to grant the amount of pages. So even though I'm not hating it or by any means, and I think it's very well written, I just don't think this should be in the shortlist. I don't think it has the appeal, the wide appeal. I don't think it like the topics are interesting enough, at least for me. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I will probably finish it because it's a nice book, like it reads very nice. But yeah, I just I still don't know why this is in the shortlist. But anyway, those are my thoughts so far. I have half an hour before I pick Alex up, so I have to do the dishes a little bit, and yeah, then I'll go pick her up, and I will let you know when I read more.
Hello everyone, so it's Monday afternoon. We had a really busy weekend. On Friday Alex went to a museum and then we had an appointment, and then on Saturday she had music class, and then there's the museum night for kids, so they have lots of activities in sort of lots of museums, and we went hopping from one museum to the other, from one activity to the other, which was super fun but a bit exhausting. And then on Sunday there was a music festival that we also wanted to go for kids. That was less exhausting. We were there only for a couple of hours, but still it was nice, it was fun. But yeah, that means I didn't read so much, but I did finish this morning Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy. And I think that Arundhati Roy is a really good writer. I think the way that this is written is very beautiful and very evocative in many ways. And it's mostly a memoir. It's not really going in depth into her mother's life, only the parts, more like the parts that affect her rather than the whole life of her mother. It's not trying to be a biography of her mother. And the thing that I felt was a little bit off. Her mother died in 2022, so 3-4 years ago, and I felt that she was still grieving, and she had a very difficult and complicated relationship with her mother. She was a very seemingly a very generous, strong, with high morals kind of person, but also she liked to have the her efforts be highlighted and her being the protagonist of every situation. And so when Arundhati Roy became a very famous writer and very acclaimed writer, she felt a little bit hurt that her daughter was the protagonist and not her. And I think that being such a complicated character, I think Arundhati Roy still has a lot of complicated feelings about her. And she has not fully processed that and her grief, and I think that comes through in this book. It's a little bit messy and a little bit focused more on the feelings rather than on what actually happened that would explain those feelings. Like she says, for a lot of time she had a lot of, not necessarily resentment or fear, but like she wanted to run away from her mother, but she didn't give enough examples to make us really feel why that was the case and why her life was so horrible with her mother for her to want all of those other things. So I think that's the main criticism I have about this book, that maybe it should have been written a few years in the future when the grief has been processed a little bit more, and she feels more open to talk about the good and the bad things about the relationship. I think she was not completely ready to talk about them yet, and so this book feels in some ways a bit incomplete. But yeah, I think she's a very good writer, and I'm very glad that I read it. I also liked the parts about her politics and like the way that she was able to introduce us to some of the political scenarios around the times that she was growing up and growing old. I really enjoyed that edition. So yes, I'm really glad I read it. But yeah, I am not so sure if this is going to be the winner anymore. I think she still has a strong possibility, but somehow I feel like it might be Nations of Strangers, and I didn't love that book, so I'm not super happy about it. I mean, we don't know yet, right? But I have the feeling that might be the one that vibes the most with what the judges seem to be into. Yeah, I'm not sure. I am also now listening to Artist Siblings Visionaries. I have only like listened to 1 more hour or something, and I still have the same feelings. I think I'm losing steam. I don't know if we'll actually finish this book. I'm not like, it's fine when I read it, but I'm not invested in these people's lives enough to read a 450 pages book about this or listen to it, especially when I have to juggle all the hours and stuff. So we will see if I finish it or not, but I am working my way through as much of it as I can, and I think once I run out of hours I will start Hotel Exile for this vlog as well. Yeah, today it's in 20 minutes I do have to be on a live stream. I don't know how long that's gonna take, probably 1 or 2 hours, but the rest of the week, well, Tuesday and Wednesday, it's quite normal. I have enough time and all of that, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday next week is Easter, so we will see how that goes, and I'll update you when I have read some other books. Hopefully I have finished something else.
Never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know.
Hello everyone, it is Wednesday morning, and I have been cleaning the house and listening to audiobooks for a while now, and I have reached about 60% of the Artist Siblings Visionaries, which is when I ran out of hours in BookBeat, and I don't know what to do about this book, because as the book has gone on and on, we have gone more into their promiscuous love lives and stuff like that, and also more into not so much their art, but also like their relationship with other known artists like Rodin, Monet, that kind of thing, and I'm less and less interested about it. There's not so much about the social barriers of especially Gwen to become an artist and all of that, and I think you really need to be into art and this particular artist to really get into that. So yeah, I think I might abandon this book. But I have also started Hotel Exile. I'm about 40% of the way through, and this one at the beginning I was very excited about when I started, like the first hour or two, because it talked a lot about the German immigrants or refugees that went from Germany to Paris when Hitler first came into power, before all the bad things that he did really started kicking off. And it was interesting to see how the French rejected the Germans, and the kind of image of them being dirty and not working and all of that, that still we do have for refugees that come now from wars and stuff. When the Syrian refugees came over, those are the kind of things that people are saying about them as well, with no basis. Of course they want to leave, they don't want to be killed in their country. I don't think that's a very controversial thing to say. And so that conversation was very interesting. And now the book has evolved more into looking at the resistance that was building against the Nazis, and how the Nazis were also building up their power and their horrors, and that is starting to become less exciting. Also, we do talk a fair bit about the artists around Paris, James Joyce and Aldous Huxley, and also a number of German refugees that were also artists. I did find the comment about journalists and writers, German journalists and writers, losing everything when they moved, not just because they lost their home and everything, but they spent all these years mastering the use of the German language, and that's something they couldn't use anymore because all the things that they had to say were not welcomed in Germany, and therefore there was no point for them to say that in a way that they could make money. So I found that comment interesting about it, but yeah, it's building more onto, like, again, specific personalities and like history of the Nazis and the Second World War building up, which it's important, but I think it has been explored a fair amount, so it does not feel as new or as interesting to talk about that anymore. Not because it's not important, not because it's not groundbreaking anymore. It's very difficult to have anything groundbreaking to say about the world wars anymore. So yeah, I'm starting to again lose steam with this one, but I'm liking it more than I thought I was going to like it. It's not so much about the artists, and it's more about the resistance and the refugees and all of that. So I think this one has been marketed a little bit wrong. And yeah, my plan is to continue listening to that until I finish it, and I think after that I'm going to close this vlog. I'm not going to wait to see if I can finish Arundhati's Visionaries, because every time I think about picking up this book, I think there are other books I'd rather be reading. So that tells me that maybe I shouldn't be reading that one. I don't think anything, it's not a novel, so it's not like anything amazing is going to happen at the end that is going to change the whole book, I don't think. So yeah, those are my thoughts so far. I will let you know any more thoughts I have when I finish probably Hotel Exile. Hello everyone, so it's Friday night and I have an update for you. I finished Hotel Exile today, and I think there are things that I liked about it and things I didn't like about it. Sometimes there were some very poignant and very relevant to today things that the book said about refugees and about how we treat them and how difficult it is for them not just to move and all of that, but also the fact that nobody really understands what they went through and all the horrors of what happened to them. Those parts I really enjoy.
But there was also a lot of the book that was just first about famous artists and second about just the experience during the Nazi regime and the people moving out and those kind of things that felt very on the beaten path, kind of stories, things that we have all heard before, things that we're not exploring any new exciting way. And so for me this book had pockets of good things to say, but overall it just didn't feel very innovative or very breaking the boundaries of anything. So yeah, I'm glad that I read it, but it's not something that's going to stay with me. And as of Artist Siblings Visionaries, I have decided to DNF for now. If it wins, I will finish it. I'm about 60% of the way through, and I just, every time I'm going to pick up that book, I think of all the other things I would rather be listening to. So that tells me that I'm not really into that book that much, and I will better use my time in other things. So yeah, that's going to stay like that. And those are all the books that were left in the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction shortlist. So I mean, technically I haven't read the whole shortlist because there is 40% of one book that is left, but it's as far as I'm gonna go. So let me know your thoughts if you have read any of the books. And as for predictions of the winner, I think it's going to be Nation of Strangers, because I think the form is very artistic and it's very special and very innovative, but still approachable, and the topic is very off today, and it's something that clearly the judges are interested in, because there are similar conversations in Hotel Exile and Nation of Strangers, and even some of the other books as well. So I think Nation of Strangers might win it. However, I think of the shortlist, I would rather see Arcure or the Arundhati Roy win. I think those were the two highlights for me of the shortlist. If we look at the whole long list, I haven't read the whole long list, but To Exist As I Am is my personal winner for this year. I think that book was brilliant, and I hope a lot of people read it because it's a very enlightening book. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction. Let me know yours, and until next video, bye!